I want to talk today about the three major types of facelift. And the reason I want to do this is because there is so much confusion out there. There are so many different named facelifts, and I've made videos on this in the past where it becomes almost a circus. Like, do I choose, this name brand facelift over this name brand facelift when it comes down to more important decision making? Like, what are my unique goals? What is my anatomy starting out with? And honestly, because of this, you've got to break down what type of facelift is best for you based on one of three major important flavors. That's mini facelift, a traditional or SMAS tightening facelift, and a composite deep plane or a deep plane facelift. Let's start with a mini facelift. The mini facelift is essentially taking your skin and tightening it. So here's a pictorial of the face. We make standard facelift incisions, and that yellow bar that you see is where we are going to numb up the skin, and we are going to pull that skin back tight. And it does have a pretty short-term and important effect. Like, it helps with tightening the nasolabial folds and eliminating marionette lines. And some people are pretty happy with this. It's truly a quick fix. But the area that you're tightening and pulling on is honestly the area that usually doesn't need tightening. It doesn't really pull at all on the nasolabial fold. It doesn't really pull at all on the jowls. And there's a lot of different marketing terms for the mini facelift. Some of them that come to mind are either the S-lift or the Max lift. Short scar facelifts, lifestyle lifts, and lunchtime lifts are other ones. Anything with rapid recovery usually is minimally invasive, like a mini facelift would be. The mini facelift can be thought of as maybe like painting over walls, changing some carpet, things that are not really changing the structure of the face, but sort of improving the surfacing. The next approach to consider is a more traditional facelift that was popularized by some Swedish plastic surgeons in the 1970s and 80s, and it really involves tightening the deeper structures of the face under the skin, because the truth is we learned 50 years ago that pulling the skin tight does not really last. And so doing a more traditional approach, I think, gives you a better load sharing technique. There's a lot of different names for that traditional facelift. There are prominent surgeons in New York City and other parts of the country in San Francisco who do an excellent job with this facelift approach. It is something that I personally trained on, and I've been really happy with it for years. You may hear of terms like SMASectomy and SMAS plication, and these are the classic facelift approaches that have not only made a lot of my patients happy over the years, but are expected to last, maybe 10 or 15 years. And it's kind of like reinforcing a home's framework, like strengthening beams and adding joists and support, but you're not really gutting the house. You're not really changing things. The composite deep plane facelift is a term that converted me from the traditional approach to the deep plane approach. The deep plane approach in general is what people, it's sort of a catchphrase. Everybody says you have to have a deep plane facelift. And for a while I was a skeptic because I saw a lot of quote unquote deep plane facelifts that didn't look very good. They didn't really seem to address the anterior face, meaning the jowls, the perioral region, marionette lines, and nasolabial folds. And because it didn't do that, I was not convinced that it was the right answer until I learned more about a true composite deep plane facelift. And that's the biggest difference between a SMAS facelift or a traditional approach and the deep plane approach. You are not only tightening the SMAS, but you're releasing the structures that hold it in place before you tightening. So you can tighten it without tension. And again, the whole idea of the facelift is to eliminate tension on any part of it. If you eliminate tension, you get better scars, you get a more durable result. So the composite deep plane facelift has a lot of different names. You may have heard of vertical restore facelift or aura lift. Ponytail facelift has some component of this. So the composite deep plane facelift, from a home renovation analogy, would be not just painting the walls and changing the carpet, not reinforcing, joists and maybe taking down a wall or two. But what we're doing here is we're truly gutting a home here. We're not demolishing it, but we're gutting the home. We're taking down all of the infrastructure and we are rebuilding it. We are preserving a lot of the aesthetic elements of the face and certainly the bony components of it, but by allowing a complete release, we can truly restore the harmony of the face. So again, in summary, you've got mini facelift, a traditional or SMAS tightening facelift, and a composite deep plane or a deep plane facelift. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Have a great day.